Welcome to Rusty Rose Adventures. I'm Max and this is my rusty but trusty home on wheels, Rose. She's 30 years old, done 260,000 miles and spent years out of action before I gave her a second chance at life. After 8 months of restoration, I hit the road to chase my dream of travelling the world. For the past 2 years, I've explored the stunning landscapes of England, Wales and Scotland, but now it's time to take her further than ever. To make that happen, she needs a bit more TLC, starting with swapping the rear axle, changing the front springs and tackling some other small jobs. Let's dive in. Hello, good afternoon everyone. So, today I'm going to be doing a Q&A video, but I'm just going to start off with, I've made a good old cup of tea. Chelsea's out, so I'm making a noise, but the dog's still here. Sorry Yoshi, it's going to be quite loud. I've got to cut this flue off because it's all split and rusty because I accidentally welded it in the bottom, so I've got to cut it off and then try and pry it out. But this one is more solid than this one, so I think whatever I was wearing before was shit. Helps if you turn the plug on first, Max. Appears we're still smoking. Which is not particularly great. I need to somehow try and get this out quick. It's very soggy out there today. I thought it was out more than this. It's not welded all the way around, it's just a couple of times it blew through and well, that's all it took. Almost out. Now then, that needs to go up further. And this one can go in here. This flue's slightly thicker. It's proper flue. The stuff I had before is like flue liner. It's really flimsy. But like this stuff was like 20 quid a meter for the stuff I bought. But for the proper flue, it's like 40 quid. It's just like, it's a lot of money for a meter of something, you know. But anyway, buy cheap, buy twice, as they say. I might have to buy another length of that stuff then, because that's not fitting on properly. It'll do for now though. So past the Yoshi, in this corner is this piece of plywood that has this batten attached to it, but it doesn't go all the way down, which leaves a bit of a death trap for things to fall down and down into subfloor. And also it's just a bit flimsy and a bit shit, and I was going to take that off and use that to patch here, which also wasn't finished. And then I was going to get, I've got some 6mm ply that's carpeted, and I was going to stick that here so it's a nice backrest. So yeah, the job's to take this off, put carpeted sheets there, and then under here where my diesel heater divide is, when my diesel heater pipe comes up, toolboxes smashed into it and I've had to replace it twice already, so I'm going to build a wall there so things don't hit it. Sorry Yosh, am I in your way? Sorry Yoshi, I just came in and he's gone sat straight up there, but I need him to move. Can you scud your bum please Yosh? Come on, down you get. Good boy. Right, so I've got to take... You got to stay down there. No. You're going to be in the way, Yoshi. So I've got to take this off, wherever I screwed it in. I can't remember how many screws I put in it. You're still a bit in the way there, Yosh. Yeah, I couldn't find my normal extension bar, so I've got my ridiculous one on. There we go. That this was put in before the splashback, which you can't see back here, and before the electrical cables, so it's going to be fun to get out. Ah, and the electrical cables are still screwed into it. Just flashback. So I have to take it off, but it is sealed, so I'll have to break the seal. Oh, that doesn't sound good. Oh, yeah, that's torn my towels away. Uh-oh. Oh, no. Uh-oh. Kind of fucked my towels a little bit. That's good sealant. Whatever fucking... That's just a bead pushed along. Well, I didn't expect this to ruin my kitchen, but here we go. That's the way it goes. Tick one job off the list, add another one on. I might be able to glue it back together and make it look alright, but we'll see. The new one's in 2 halves, so that's a bit easier, eh? But I've cut one of the 2 bits yet so far, so I can get the second measurement bang on. This should be the correct height to go in here and slot behind everything. Good to check the insulation. It seems pretty nice and dry, which is all good, because the ceiling condensates, so I need to rectify that. But this is really dry. Here, no condensation in there at all. The wool is absolutely bone dry. No sign of damp. These bits of string holding the sheep's wool up are still good. Next time I probably will spray foam a box, especially if it's alley. But this, my van is made of. So a lot of you ask why roses delaminating. That's a lot of the questions I get, to be fair. And the reason is, if you see the 2 white layers either side of this black, the black is like just a normal plastic, possibly a fibre reinforced plastic, but definitely it's just a plastic. And then the 2 outer layers are 2 skins of fiberglass, about 1 mil thick, and they are just adhered to it. So when the box had a bit of damage at the back, water did get in at some point, and then it separated all the glue, but it doesn't rot because there is no wood in there. It's just plastic and fiberglass, so this box will never rot. So that's why I don't worry about the outside, and cosmetically I'm not fussed. But as you can see, it's made of this like honeycomb mesh out of plastic, which means there's an air gap between the inside of the wall and the outside of the wall, which means I don't get much condensation on the walls. It's just the fiberglass up there, where it's a single skin of fiberglass that you can see just around the skylight, and then this skylight also drips. So yeah, van life problems. And I have seen dripping from up there above the flue too. There we go, it almost looks like the fucking... I thought the vapour barrier was still there on the camera, but there we are. Look at that. There's a very unimpressed looking Yoshi. Don't worry Yoshi, your sofa's back together. Here we go, look at that. Let's do the comfort test. Yeah, it's pretty good. There's no like batten trying to ram you in the back now. Much nicer. The only thing is I don't know how people carpet their vans, because I've just got a few fingerprints on here. I'm like, how the fuck do you clean carpet? Anyway, that's probably going to be it for me today. I might do a few other little bits, but Chelsea's going to be back. I need to get dinner ready, and I have got another kind of question which is actually quite interesting. It's not really a question, it's a comment on their opinion, but I'm going to turn it into a question. But I'll do that stuff tomorrow. I need to write them all down, and I'll come back to you and form a little Q&A, because I think that might be something you're interested in. I've just had the door open a minute, but this was 2 halves of wood I put on top of last night's wood this morning at 6 in the morning, and now it's 6 in the evening, and one of those 2 halves of wood is still going. Isn't that just mad? I'm gonna build a little kindling-y fire just over it. It will put it out a little bit, but I have a trick with my burner. Shut that one completely and you'll watch and you'll see that start to glow down there. There you are. And that will pull all of those embers from that one that's burning in there through, and bingo. Yeah, and then once the bark dries out, it's a great fire lighter as well. Right, I've just done a thumbnail for the video 2 videos ago, I think. I'll stick the card to the video up there. Now, we were going to get on some Q&A questions today because it is the next day. Sun did come out for a second, but it's come back in now. But before I get into some questions, again, sorry, delaying it. This axle, I need to strip the calipers off. I'm kind of in my nice clothes, but that's because I've just washed my work clothes and they're drying inside. So I'm not going to do anything too major today, but I would like to remove the calipers. So I'm just going to quickly do that. Thanks to Charlie for leaving this here, which is going to make life easy. There we go, one. Looking at these, I don't know if these are much better than my calipers, you know. I might wait to do this job until I've got the front axle down, because I think the leaf springs aren't going to be here for a week. They've only just been dispatched today, so I'm going to pull that caliper off, put this axle back in there, and put these calipers in there for now. Need a good tidy up in there, but I'll do that when it gets dark because I want to do this Q&A with you guys in the cab. Hello everyone, welcome. This was the job I was going to do, but to be fair, I hate working in nice clothes because you can't do anything, and then you get pissed off because you've got dirt on your trousers, which obviously wouldn't care if you were in your work clothes. So this is the job I wanted to do, but I'm not going to. We're going to kick the Q&A off in a second. But this is a little choke cable, basically, and it pulls out. It's coiled up, so it's quite stiff at the moment. And the idea is that this is going to be used to set Rose's idle throttle when I'm charging the batteries, because when it's on idle it's too low. So yeah, that's the plan with that. But I'm going to leave that for now, do that up because there's a small little piece in there that I don't want to lose. Questions! I am going to start with one that I keep getting that is irrelevant to my current axle swap, and that is because I was filming on the driver's side of the van when the van was the other way around, and there's all the delamination. Now people are saying, is your van vinyl wrapped? The answer is no. Are you going to do anything about it? The answer is also no. Now you'll remember from yesterday I showed you what the box is made of, and that is the reason why. It's plastic and it's fiberglass. It's come apart. The removals company added upright battens inside the box, which I'll try and find a clip of and stick it in now, but if I can't find any, tough shit. So all the bolt holes that you see on the outside, they're coach bolts, so they're rounded. There's no like actual bolt to get hold of, but they're basically like keeping the side together, so it's not going to come off in one piece because it's got so many different bolts in. So it's not going to come off because it's bolted in place to battens on the inside of the van. I don't think it has water in. It won't rot anything because it's plastic and fiberglass, and it doesn't cause me any issues. So no, I'm not ever going to fix it. The thing that bugs me about it most is people don't shut the fuck up about it. So sorry, don't mean to be rude, but it's delamination, it's fiberglass, and it's plastic. There's no water as far as I'm concerned of, and I just don't care. That's pretty much it. I just don't care. I'm sorry to people who would want to like fix it. Like, if it was a GRP box with ply in between, different story. I know Charlie's is like that. If you want to go see my recent videos with Charlie's van, and he's got a very nice van, go watch the card up there. But yeah, his is GRP where it's got plywood in. He said he's got some like hairline cracks in the fiberglass and he wants to reskin it with Ali. Totally makes sense. But I will just live out this box for like 10 years, and one day it's got a plywood floor. One day it will have its time basically, and I'll put a fully alley box on with an alley roof, alley floor, alley everything, and it's not going to rot. But for now, I don't care. Right, question that I kept getting from people who kind of knew bits about vans but hadn't done loads, or knew bits about, or were mechanics that knew things about vans but didn't know much about these. Now, won't swapping axles ruin your van with the ratio difference? Yes and no. All the axles have a little plate on them that's riveted on that tells you the ratio of the axle, but pretty much all the axles around, the tag has fallen off basically. So I took a gamble when I saw two in Aberdeen for 300 quid. I was like, I'm just going to go get it, fuck it. I have since seen one in England for 120 quid, but again, it was 60 quid in fuel there and back, so it's not too bad. One thing I did know about Rose is that she's got the most powerful engine. She's one of the last models ever made. She's got the high range gearbox, so I pretty much just assumed she had one of the highest ratioed rear axles, differentials, and I'm pretty sure I'm true. I don't think there is a higher one than what she did have. I can't remember the actual ratio numbers, so it's lower ratioed, which will give me an advantage driving in general. When I popped in Charlie's van to pop into town the other day, he's in fourth much sooner than I normally am and all of that stuff. So that's all it'll do. It'll bring the gears down a bit, which is what I've always wanted with Rose. But the question is motorway cruising speeds and the economical MPG of a lower ratio, in theory, is going to make it worse on the motorway. But we'll just see. As I say, if it's too bad, I might consider 16-inch wheels, or I am going to keep those axles so I can put the rear one back on. I'll just change the bearing in it. So that is basically that. Why don't you repair it? So as I said, I would just repair it. One, I don't know that much about axles. I haven't looked into it loads, the differentials and stuff. When I first looked into it, everyone said, oh, you got to diff out and it's all shims, it's quite professional, you'll have to get a place to do it. So I just pretty much scrapped the idea off from then. But people are sometimes like that, and you know me, I'm open to trying anything. So now I've learned a bit more, and have done it all. People have said if you're just changing the bearing, not the actual differential in the axle, you can get away with using all the same shims, just taking it all out carefully, marking where everything goes, change the bearing in the front of the diff and put it all back in, and then torque it up to the right spec. So now I know roughly how to do it, and I've seen it all. I will happily do it, no problem. But I didn't think it was feasible, and I hadn't looked into it probably quite as much, and it's going to be interesting to see what a lower ratio is anyway. And I like to do all these different jobs. I've removed the whole axle, done all the U-bolts, everything now, and I wouldn't have done that if I'd have just changed the diff. So, you know, it is what it is. Right, a question is, how much is it going to be to do all of this? Now, the axles were 300 quid. Whatever I get back will be deducted from that, but that's 300 quid. I haven't totted it up yet. Give me 1 minute. So, I haven't done the front axle yet, but I've just totted up everything I bought off eBay. So I had to buy 4 U-bolts, which were £17 each. I had to buy 2 wheel bearings, which was £36 each, roughly, 35, 36. There was the brake load sensing valve arm that I had to break. That was £12.95, and then I've had to buy 5 litres of gear oil for the rear axle, which was 25 quid. And then a couple of small things, brake pipe clips and the handbrake cable clips, just P-clips basically. I think that's all I bought. I may have gone into town and bought 1 or 2 bits, but that's mostly it, and that comes to a total of £182.45, which ain't too bad. Obviously the cost of the axle, as I just said, was 300 quid, but that's for 2 of them, and I will get rid of 2 more of them. So at the end of the day, it would have been cheaper just to repair the bearing, definitely, but I'm all for experiences. This has been one hell of an experience. I've loved taking the axle out and doing all that shit. It's not for everyone, I know. So let's say it was £150 for an axle. That makes it £280 if it was £100 for the axle, or 320 quid. So basically the cost of the axle was 300 odd quid to do that whole rear axle, brand spanking new everything basically. And the paint, well, I already had the paint, so I'm just not going to put that in, but it's what, an extra 20 quid on the top. So about 300 quid. It's not too bad. After looking at those calipers, I'll probably rebuild those calipers, grease and paint up that whole front axle and sell it as a refurbished front axle for the Mercedes T1. I might even offer it on my way down to James Wright. He might want it as a parts piece. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens, see what I get for it. But yeah, that is the total. £182 I spent on eBay, and about 300 quid I spent on Facebook Marketplace on some axles. When you do all the labour yourself, the rest of it is just time. How can you afford to fix rows? Now, obviously, year before last, 2023, I was working at Bluefix, and last year I was just doing my own thing, basically. So in the summer of 2024, in June, I set up a little mobile business, which I've put on screen here. And it did really well. I put up one Facebook Marketplace listing. It got shared to a load of campsites. I had even hire companies calling me of rentals out and about, and sometimes it was literally just fix a leaking water pipe. I've changed brake pads, I've done welding, I've done everything. So if you're up in Scotland and you come into any troubles, I'm your man. Especially if you're on the west coast near Fort William. So yeah, that's basically how I did the money this year, is I just plodded on. I didn't even work that hard. As soon as Rose is back on the road, we're going to do some travels, but I'm going to be skint as fuck. So I've got a welding job lined up near Oban, welding a T4, and then I'll probably put on a new post on Facebook, and there's a campsite that quite often gets work, and then the seasons will be coming in, more campers will be around, and the work will just pick up again. But I'm not really interested in working in the winter, so I've just kind of palmed them off for now. Also, I can't really go anywhere to help anyone with a van that's off the road, and I can't really go in Chelsea's van because I don't know what tools I'll need, and it's just a bit of a nightmare. Right, and this was a comment I had on the first video, or was it the one that's literally just come out? I can't remember, but it was, don't get emotionally attached to a vehicle, buy a better one, was his comment. And I'm going to take that as, why don't you buy a better vehicle? Now, I did reply to his comment, which I don't usually do with the Q&A questions, but I just had to. I don't know if this guy means by better one, newer one, in which case I completely disagree with him. All the work I've done on Rose, albeit you might seem like it's an absolutely obscene amount of work, at the end of the day, I want to know my vehicle down to a T. I always said that before I even bought this van. It was going to be an Iveco. It doesn't matter what it is. I want to know every nut and bolt on the engine and chassis. So if anything goes wrong when I'm out in the middle of the sticks, I can at least diagnose and know what the fuck's wrong and know what part I need to fix the van. Because I don't know if I have some kind of trust issues, but I do not trust mechanics and other people's opinions. I think that's that. I want to see it, and I want to be able to tell and source the part and get it and put it on. I just don't trust anyone after the amount of problems you see where people go abroad and then get fucked over. So yeah, not for me. And as I've also said, I've replaced loads of bits on this van, as you've seen. I've documented it, but never have I replaced the same part twice, apart from brake pads because I put cheap ones in, and the alternator belt, but that is also because I'm just caning the alternator, running and charging the batteries. But like, they are two serviceable parts that can be replaced loads. Other than that, I've not replaced a part twice. So I will eventually run out of things to replace, and then she'll be mint. And when these vans were new, the only downfall they have now is all the parts on them are 30 years old, 40 years old. Once you get them all back up to scratch like they were back in their working day, they are bulletproof and reliable as fucking anything, as long as a coolant hose doesn't pop off and overheat the head, because that will easily kill one of these engines. Overheating them is the easiest way to kill one, but if you don't overheat it, they'll just go and go and go and go until that goes back to zero. That is why I love these vans. So simple. Yes, they're slow. No, I would not ever put, unless this engine did actually die, which, as I say, it's not impossible. They are bulletproof engines, but it's not impossible. If it were to ever die, I might consider the turboed version out of the car, but I wouldn't bolt a turbo to this engine because it wasn't designed for it. I've seen people do it, and then the engine goes bang because the engine, everything's not... This engine isn't under stress. This is what people don't realise. When you're driving along and the engine's screaming, there's no pressure there. It's just spinning really quickly. It's just momentum. That's why you have to get these screaming up a hill. As soon as you add a turbo to that, that's adding pressure to the engine, that's adding all sorts of stresses, and something is going to go. It's not going to last as long, I guarantee you. It might take tens of thousands of miles for something to go wrong, but chances are, putting a turbo on one of these, especially when it is going around and up the hills, it's going to be putting a hell of a lot of stress on that. And to be fair, I'd rather just go slowly. I'd rather just go slowly and enjoy the view. I'm not fussed. The only time it gets annoying is when you're on motorways driving from Scotland to Oxfordshire. It gets a bit boring. But otherwise, driving around these mountain roads, it's like, I'll sit at 30. I ain't bothered. So yeah, no, don't have any regrets in buying this van, and I don't have any regrets in any of the work I've done, because if I ever, this is what he said, that was the other thing, don't get emotionally attached to the vehicle, which is the bit that I'm just going to add to. Well, I'm emotionally attached to this, and I, one, like that, and two, as long as I am emotionally attached, the cost doesn't really matter because it's an emotional attachment as well, which means that I'm going to reap all the benefits that I spend on this. So everything, all the work I put into this, all the time, money and everything, like, I'm not just going to go, oh, well, that's too far gone now, I'll just buy another one. Because then I'll have to start from scratch again. I won't know every nut and bolt. At least this, I know what's been changed and what hasn't, and how many miles roughly each bit's done, even though I do forget and I should be writing it down because my brain is not that good. But anyway, that is my little rant, my little Q&A. If you've got any more questions, drop them down below again, and I'll probably just reply to them for now. But I will do another Q&A maybe in a few months or something, I don't know. And I always think about a live stream, so let me know if you'd be interested in one of them, because I've only done about 2 of them, and I ain't done one for over a year, so yeah, I don't know if that's something you're interested in. But I hope you're enjoying this little series, and I've been chatting for like 15 minutes anyway, so I'm not going to bore you anymore. That was my quick Q&A. That is what I'm doing, how much it cost, all of that jazz. So I hope that helped for those of you that were asking. But that's it from me for today, and I'll join you tomorrow when I crack on doing some more jobs like this idle cable and painting and bits and bobs. But tonight I've also got to tidy up in there because it's a bit of a mess. And yesterday, when it's pissing it down, that roof leaks a bit and the moisture comes out of the walls, like out of the rock. It's mad, because I had some bits of plywood in there. I thought that'd be nice and dry, but they were damp. Anyway, I'll shut up and catch you guys tomorrow. Hello everyone. I've got the door open today and it's a beautiful day. Got the door on its stay, and I'm just heading out without spilling my tea. Door's wedged as well because it's really windy. This little plant's not doing so well. I want to repot it. I was giving it some sun there. So yeah, it started off quite usual as it was in Scotland, cloudy and stuff, and now there's like not a cloud in the sky and it's absolutely glorious. So as I said yesterday, I have a job to do on the van, which is fit that idle cable. However, another problem occurred, which was the glow plugs. Apparently, if I stand this way you might be able to see me. I can't see now. The glow plugs, one of them has gone because it starts on 4 cylinders and the glow plug light doesn't come on, which means the glow plugs have, one of them has gone. So I've got to diagnose and find out which one. So I need to take the engine cover off first, so let's do that. Right, this is the lovely tea I've got. It's green tea, mint and honey. It's nice. It's like a Polish continental shop in town, and they sell really good tea bags for really cheap. Right, take my little desk out, because sometimes I edit in here when me and Chelsea want our own space. And my little cup holder, which I did make a video on. You can go check it out in the card. I only painted the floor in May. Hard to think it's already been a year. Where the fuck did 2024 go? That's what I want to know. And you pull it this way and then up. There we go. Right, so here's when I put my foot on the pedal, it pushes this wire in, because this is my throttle cable, and pulls that like that. And I thought this ball was like in line with this and I could just add it onto there, but turns out no. But I might still be able to work out some way of attaching it. I'll probably have to drill a hole in this little bracket so that the metal can come through. It's quite a long distance, but I can cut some of that off there. Yeah, I'll work it out, but for now, that's not really that important. It's nice to see the engine still looking quite tidy, not looking like we've got any oil leaks. Ooh, maybe a little bit of oil leaking around the oil filter housing where it bolts to the block. But in terms of head gasket, I don't see any oil. The problem today is here. Here are my glow plugs. Now I'm hoping it's just a cable, because some of these connections still aren't the best. But we shall see. It's very warm today. It's like 12 degrees or something and the sun's out. That's why we've got the door open and everything. It's a first for 2025. Right, so what you want to do is you want to use a multimeter and you want to set it to the ohm setting so you can measure the resistance. And my cables are really temperamental, so I have to check that they're working by touching them. That one reads almost 0. That one reads almost 0. I can't remember which one's meant to read what. I've just come round here, and this plug, which you've got a main power in, this is a glow plug relay, and then all of the outputs come out of here and go down. This plug was like up, half plugged in. So I've just pushed it down now. That bolt needs tightening up. And now let's see what happens on the dashboard. So as you can see, the glow plug light's on at the moment, but the glow plugs are off, which is Mercedes' way of letting you know, with no ECU, that the glow plug relay is broken. But look, it's just turned itself off. So if I turn this off, if that light comes on, it means it's fixed. If that light doesn't come on, it means it's broken. Hey! It wasn't coming on before. It would stay off till the glow plugs turn off, and then that light would turn back on again. But the glow plugs are still on, even though the light's off. That's normal, because these glow plugs run for a bit longer while the engine's running, is the idea. Because if you watch that voltmeter, it will jump up in a second. You'll hear a tick from that relay in the front in the engine bay. There it is. And that will shoot up. There we go. Now the glow plugs are off, but if we turn it off again, turn it back on again, that's now off. There we go. Fixed! Well, that was an easy fix. That plug was loose. That's good news. Now, I've got to try and fit this, which is going to be slightly harder than I thought because of what I just explained with those little ball things. These are the little cable clamp things I've got to clamp. I bought 2 of them just in case, because I'm not entirely sure what I need. This is going to sit here, just next behind my steering wheel, because there's already a hole here. And then it's going to run back through the back of the dashboard, through the engine bay, round, and into here where the throttle cable goes. So I'm going to fit it here, where there's already that hole. And then I'm going to run it that way into the engine bay. There's where my throttle cable comes through, and that is where the wiring loom enters the engine bay. There is 2 of them, there's one either side, which is quite useful. So I might take it through here where we've just pierced a hole anyway, because the actual throttle cable runs right round the front over here onto here, and that takes you down to the side of the engine. So it takes us back here where the fuel pump is and the throttle linkage is. So I'm going to run that quickly through there, but then the idea is that this will be coming through here. I'm thinking I'll drill a tiny hole so just this can go through, and then this will be left here. I know it won't have an adjuster like this, but it's got those little screw pieces that I just showed you. They're like a little clamp down piece, so you can push the wire through and then clamp it down. So that will be on the end of here, on the end of the actual wire that pulls. Anyway, it's getting quite chilly now, despite the sun and what I said, but I am also in the shade with this fucking wind tunnel through here. We wasted most of the day going to the post office and sending items for our little shop, the Tangled Earthlings. We only have 1 jam left, which will probably have sold by the time this video comes out, so I'm sorry, but there will be more later this year in the blackberry season. Come September, that's when we made it. If you're looking for more blackberry jam, please do hang around. There's 5 calendars left if you would like a calendar, and there's also many prints left because not many people have bought the print. So if you've got any feedback on anything and what you think we should do, because the prints haven't sold too well, but if you would like one, feel free to go buy one. And if you have purchased anything off our little website, Tangled Earthlings, links are down below. A lot of people can't find it, or maybe I'll put it right at the top. tangledearthlings.co.uk is the website, so go there, have a look. Even if you're searching Google, it actually comes up, I worked out. So yeah, have a look for it. If you have bought anything, please do give us some feedback in the comments. Let us know what you thought about what we sell, and that would be great because we'd love to hear what you think of what we're selling. So yeah, any feedback greatly appreciated. Any of the prints you see that I put up that maybe you want to see that aren't available as prints, just let me know. But I might be doing a poll thing anyway to decide what prints to do next on our next outroll of prints. But anyway, I'm going to crack on before it gets dark because the sun's on its way down now. And I'll pick this back up once I've got most of the throttle cable done, if not all of it, because you've seen largely what's going to happen basically. So guys, I never did actually finish showing you this. Now here it is all fitted, as you can see. Engine covers covered up, but when I push this down, I got to kind of push the throttle down as well because it's quite stiff. So yeah, it's quite stiff, but that's revved up at the moment a little bit. And listen, if I push this in, and then drops down. When it's idling, it can't decide. You give it a little rev and it'll show you what it's actually revving at. On idle, it's all over the shop. Right, now back to the main video, because that I forgot to record the other day. Okay, hello everyone. Oh, dearie me. So, oh, that's bright as well. Right, if I turn that around like that, it's a few days later. We've had a nice few sunny days. I can't remember, I think the last time I filmed it was sunny, and then we had another sunny day. James has come up from the Cairngorms, or come down, across, or however you want to say it. And yeah, it was nice to see him and his 2 new cats now. If you don't remember, I'll maybe make a little playlist of last winter's travels. I think I have actually, and the last ones are with Chelsea and James. So yeah, make sure you go check that if you haven't watched any of those videos, because that was when Rose was on the road last winter. So if you want to check out some winter travels in Rose and you're new, be sure to check that playlist out. But now, back to rainy old Scotland. It's still quite mild, but due to be getting colder. So before it gets really cold, I'm going to repaint this rear axle, because if you ignore me, because I'll be way overexposed, there's bits of red. I'm not sure if you can see it everywhere. Whoa! It's windy. And there's also bits of diff oil everywhere, because I spilled it everywhere when I tried to put some in, but I didn't have enough, so I've got some more now to top it up properly. But job number 1 is going to be, maybe job number 1 should be to fill the oil, because I'm going to degrease this first, because there's loads of oil and stuff on it from when we were dealing with it with greasy hands. So I need to spray some brake cleaner on it, but I think I'm going to fill this up first. So yeah, quick montage of doing all these jobs, and then I've got to put the brake pipe clips on, because the brake pipe's loose, so I can paint around it at the moment, and the brake pipe clips haven't arrived yet. So, but everything's here now, so do some painting and let's get this axle finished off. So last time I used this funnel, I didn't put a bit of hose on the end, and I was lifting it up and it snapped the end. And I can't find a bit of hose big enough now, it's snapped. So I've just put a silicone funnel around it and cable tied it, so let's see how this works. And it doesn't help that I've got a 5 litre can to do it with. Well, this is very painful. The battery just died and it will die again. But I've just had to do this, fill the funnel like that, and then just let it trickle in slowly, because it's a tiny hole. How fun. So yeah, just hold that there now until all of that oil. As you can see, I put the nut on before putting the P-clip on, and that is because I want something for the P-clip to butt up to. So when I put this P-clip on, and I'm deliberately putting it on backwards, plenty of copper grease, and there you go. One solid brake pipe clamp, all copper greased up. This nut is a stainless nut. So I've got a normal galv nut behind, because I haven't got loads of stainless ones, because that's never going to have to come off, and then a stainless nut on the front. So I'm just going to do that on all of them, basically. So the last job, hello, is this handbrake cable needs pinning up to this bracket here. Got some copper grease on my finger. I'm just going to put it on that surface, because that's going to be a rusty surface. I've got a P-clip here and a stainless nut and bolt, because the last one I had to cut off because it had rusted already. So this time I'm going stainless. The only stainless bolts I have are hex headed ones, so I'm hoping that it's going to work. Yeah, there we are, solid. Actually moving the bracket more than anything, which is very good. And hopefully this is all stainless as well. I tried to make sure I got everything stainless so it's not going to fucking rust, because I've had enough of it. Right, I'm going to do the other side, but it's just the same thing. So that is it for today. James was over, which was nice to see him again, and Charlie took me into town to get the parcels and stuff, because Chelsea's van is out of action, the tension has died, the pulley just collapses, so aim is to fix that over the next few days as well when the bits turn up. But for now, tomorrow I think I'm going to spin the van around and jack the front up and start getting that stuff taken apart, calipers off, maybe start to rebuild them. I've got some welding to do, as I said. So realistically, whoa, Wrong way, Max. That is probably realistically the end of this video, to be fair, because I mean this was just more of a tinkering video and the Q&A video, which I've done all, and I imagined well, I talked for 20 minutes yesterday, so this video is probably going to be going on, so I'm going to end this video here. And yeah, if you want to see progress on the front, which is, as I say, probably going to start tomorrow when I start jacking it up, the leaf springs should be they're coming from Estonia. The triple leaf front springs. I thought they were coming from Germany, but no, coming from Estonia. So yeah, that's all to come, but as I say, this video is probably long enough, so if you are interested in more mechanical bits, then stay tuned for next week when, as I say, I'm going to be jacking the front up, taking the front axle down. I've got loads of jobs to do: repaint the calipers, rebuild the calipers, weld in, as I say, loads of jobs, grease everything up. So that's going to be it from me for now. So if you did enjoy the video, make sure you like it, drop a comment down below, share it with your friends, and if you're not subscribed, I'd really appreciate that. And I'll catch you in the next one next week.